This video is about client equipment. So managing client equipment can be challenging. These client assets fulfill a purpose for the client and have a full life cycle of acquisition, maintenance, including service and repairs, and even end of life, such as retirement or even replacement of the equipment. As we are responsible for maintaining the client's equipment on their behalf, we need to be able to track the full history of that life cycle, including reporting on the history of all the servicing and repairs during that time, and even advising the client when the equipment is approaching end of life. So here we are on the dashboard, and I've got client equipment installed. But before we jump into that, let's have a look at the apps that are required. So here are the three apps that work together. So we've got the base unit, which is the client equipment, which is the free app you can download. Anybody can download and install for free. And then we've got our two extending apps, which extends the functionality of the client services, but also links in the repairs. In this case, this is our link into our repairs module, and this servicing one links into the field services module. So with that in mind, let's have a look at it now. So if I go into let me go back to the start, the equipment, and open it up. The landing page is a list of all of the equipment grouped by the owner of the equipment. So in this case, we've got ABC Company is the parent company, and then we've got some offices around Australia. And if I expand any of these, I can see all the equipment within that particular location. I can also remove the filter up here, so just get a list of all of the equipment that I'm looking after. And if I want to click on any of the particular pieces of equipment, I can see one here that I've got a single repair already done and a no field services, but we'll open this one up and have a look at it. So up at the top, you'll notice that I've got a name for the equipment. I can see that I've got one workshop repair. So workshop repairs are ones that have been where the equipment has been brought back to us so that we can fix it. And then we've got field services where we go out to fix their that piece of equipment. So some equipment you may be able to bring back into the workshop, and some fixed plant, that sort of thing, you won't be able to, so you'll need to go out to site to fix it. Up the top, I've got my two buttons up here where I can create either a workshop repair order or a field repair order. And as I scroll down, you'll notice here I've got my equipment categories. In this case, it's an air conditioner. And I've got the owner of the equipment is listed here. And importantly, down here, I've got the address of the equipment, not of the parent's office or of whatever. This is the actual equipment's address itself. So if you imagine a situation where you may have a head office and then you've got sub-offices or state-based offices or city-based offices, and then you might have a number of those, and within each one of those you may still have buildings, and you might have even different addresses that are still under the umbrella of that one, let's say, city office. And so you might have a number of different locations in there. Now, we're not really interested in looking at all of the different locations that the company has. We really just want to know, or the technician, when they go out to services, needs to know the exact address of the particular equipment that they're repairing. And so I've got that address here. Not only that, but I've also got the equipment location within that address. So it might be, in this case, I'll put room 2, but it could be whatever you want in there. This is free text, so you can put something descriptive in there so that the technician knows exactly where to go. We've also got warranty expiration. If we know the warranty when it expires, then we can have that date in there as well. Then we've got some generic information about the manufacturer. We've got a reference, which is an internal reference number that we may use for some purpose. The free text again, so however you want to configure that, that's up to you. We've got the model and asset and serial number. So the model and serial number kind of this identifies obviously the model of the equipment and whatever the serial number is. And then we've also got asset tags. Asset tags here are a way of We can use these as barcode labels, so we can go and zap the barcode on the piece of equipment itself and bring up the property sheet for the piece of equipment, in other words this sheet itself. And so we've got a lot of information there about the equipment. The other important thing we have here is the site contact. Now, as I said, within the owner will have an office. When we get out to site to go and repair this piece of equipment, we don't necessarily want to contact the head office. We want to contact the person that's responsible for this piece of equipment, and so we've got allowance for that here. So when you pull up to site, you can immediately give Peter a call and organise to either get into the site or go through whatever safety inductions or whatever else is required for that particular site by having that contact there. And as I said, that may differ from the other information we've got about the company, i.e. the invoicing address and delivery addresses and all that kind of stuff. This differs from that entirely. Scroll down a bit and we've got our notes section here. So in this case, I've got a couple of notes in here about strainers and filters, but I can add whatever I like in here. If I will click the /, I get my menu, and I can add in things like columns and tables and bullet lists and numbers and checklists and quotes and whatever else. I've also got headings. I can really make this look really attractive. I can add images in here if I want to have an image of, let's say, the location around where the piece of equipment is. I can upload files. I can do a hell of a lot of stuff here. I can attach videos if I have a video that I want to attach in. I can even use ChatGPT to create some text here if I wanted to. So let's keep going. And the technician will see this information when they go out to site to go and do the repair. The next tab is documents. This is where we can upload things like repair manuals and STS sheets and you name it. You can add whatever documents you like in here. And then next one is the service history. At the moment we don't have any completed services, so it's empty. I do know that this one is still in draft. But what we got here is over time, this service history is going to record all of the individual visits, site visits and repairs, that sort of thing that we've done. And at any point in time, we can print this out, going via the print button to print out the service history for this particular piece of equipment. Now that can be really handy for us to then provide back to the client at some point in time. Okay, so I think most of that is fairly obvious. Up the top we do have the smart button, so if I click on the smart button I can see a list of all of the repairs done on this particular piece of equipment. I can see this is blue, so I know it's still in draft. If I go back and follow breadcrumbs back, I can go back to my field repairs. At the moment that's empty because we don't have any, so let's create one. So what we're going to do is create a field repair. Now the difference between those two, just to recap, workshop is repair is when we're bringing the equipment to our workshop to repair it. We're going to do a bench fix on it in our workshop. Whereas some equipment you can't bring it back in, it might be fixed, and therefore you're going to go out to site to fix it. So these are the two different types of repairs we've got. So in this case I'm going to create a field repair, and this will open up now a field repair order. So this is part of the field site services, where you can see we've got our contact information here, and this is the information the technician will see when they go out there. They can see the customer addresses and things like that. If this was linked to a sales order, they'll be able to see that and so forth. The other thing too, I'll go up to the top again. We've got the load JSA. So a JSA is a job start or job safety assessment, depending on where you come from. And so we've got a JSA tab there. If we load up the JSA and have a look at it now, we can see we've got all the standard questions we need to go out on site to make sure the environment's safe before we commence work. So if you've got a team, if this has been assigned to multiple people, for example, you might pick out who is the site supervisor out of the list. At the moment I don't have anybody else installed in this or created in this system yet. I've only got the one administrator account, but I'll be able to pick out who is the site supervisor. I'll be able to fill in the JSA according to these questions. Now these questions are customizable, so you can create your own sets of questions and so forth, and we can have a look at that in a minute. So pre-start questions and then post-work questions. So this is making things like you've cleaned up the site and it's all right to go at the end of it, and the site supervisor can sign off here. As you'll notice here, you can add more questions to it if you want, then that's quite fine to do that. So let's go back to the job itself. If I click on the job, I can see the list of all the equipment that I want to go out and repair as part of this field service operation. So I can add more equipment in here if I want to. But if I open this up, you'll notice that it opens up all that information we said. So there's the notes that are there. We can then type in our issues that we've found, or these might have been reported when the job was created, and that might have been updated by the people in the office that took the phone call or whatever else to say there was a problem with this equipment, so they may fill in this piece at that point in time. And then we've got report, so this is where the technician would fill in their report about what they found or what they did, those types of things. And we've also got the address pulled in here as well, just to make sure the technician knows the exact location and so forth of the particular piece of equipment they've got to work on. And at any point in time, they can, as I said, use the asset tags or the barcodes to pull that information in. It also records the date of the service as well. So I'll get rid of that. These other ones that we've got here, this is your description for the particular job. So there may be notes here that you want to put in for the technician or just about the job in general. We've got timesheets for the technician to go and fill in their timesheets. And if any sub works need to be done, we can put those in there as well. So that covers our tabs down the bottom there, as you see, and I think that's all pretty much done. So the technician would come out, the first thing that would happen though, when you do create a new job, is that the coordinator or the manager of the field services people would need to come in here and allocate the planned start and end time. I'll bring that up so we can see it. So plan a start date and the end date, which means we can put in things like, let's scroll a bit just so we can see it. You can put in the actual date and the time to start and time to finish. And the scroll's not working very well for me, but let's persist. So yeah, the manager of the service field operations would then go and assign the job to a person. I'll just fill up the top, and also set the start and end dates, and that would appear in their calendar, and we'll have a look at that later as well. I can follow breadcrumbs back to the equipment. Now there is also already a work order here for a workshop repair, but just to show you the difference between the two, I'm going to create a new one here, and we can see that I'm going to that smart button just lists them. I want to create one, so I'm going to click create new work order. Workshop repair, so you know it's warehouse RO for repair order now instead of a field service repair. I've got listed the equipment here automatically, so it already pre-populates with that. And you'll notice down here I've got a couple of extra tabs here that the normal repairs doesn't have. One is the equipment, so I've got information about the equipment, and the other one's the timesheet, so that the employee can record their times against this particular piece of work. Now this allows you to put in, if you're, depending on how your company is set up, you might have a dedicated project to repairs, and therefore you may have one or more tasks based on the repairs, so you can then allocate that work to that particular task within the repair, or you may actually have the repair as an entire project unto itself. Just probably an extreme, but there's options there for how you want to configure this for it to work within your organization. We do have a description and our time spent, and also if there's a particular sales order this is linked to, that'll pop up there as well. So back to the equipment, we need to make sure that we've got the right equipment. We're looking at the right piece of gear when it comes in, because remember this is going to be returned back to our workshop. So we're going to receive those in somewhere, and we've got to make sure that we've got the right equipment that we're going to repair, and so forth. So we can double check and verify that we've got the right serial number and that sort of thing. These other 3 tabs, working backwards, these are standard tabs within the repairs module, and you'll notice you can add and remove parts as you add, remove and recycle. So add means you're adding parts to this particular repair order. Remove is self-explanatory. We're going to remove from the equipment and probably throw away because it's broken. And then the other option is to recycle. So that's where we've taken a component out of this piece of equipment to repair. And maybe part of it was broken, but the replacement part was an entire unit. And so what we can do is then go and recycle the parts that are still good, put it back on the shelf so it can be reused somewhere else. So there are options there. And we've got repair notes and some miscellaneous in here. This is just for the route for if there is a workshop transfer that needs to happen when the equipment is returned to us, and then we've got to return it back to the client at the end. So that's the operations type that's happening there. I hope all that makes sense. So you'll see that we've now got, if I go back to the equipment itself, I've got 2 workshop repairs that have been registered for this that are in some sort of state. We don't really know by this until we actually dig in, and we can go and see them there. And then we've got our field repair where we can list all those field repairs there. If we need to create new workshop repairs or field repairs, we can do it with these smart buttons. And so now what I've got is a list of from my equipment centric view of the world. I can see, I'm going to group this back by client again, and I can open up any client. I can now go and filter and do all sorts of things with this information. Now it's very much a focus on that client equipment, and we're managing it from its entire life cycle, all the way through from when it's created, through each service we're doing, through each call out, through each repair, whether it's on site or back at our workshop, and we're tracking all those things so we can see what's going on. Now the client's going to be really interested in some of these things. So if at any point in time a client needs to know what was the history of a particular piece of equipment, maybe it's a bit troublesome, maybe there's been more call outs for this particular piece of equipment than is usual, that sort of thing. That's great information there for the client to then make a decision about whether they either upgrade, repair, replace, or otherwise the equipment there. So in a nutshell, that's it. We've got, let's go back to our apps. We've got our 3 apps working together here. We've got the base unit, which is the equipment. We've got our repairs, which extends the odoo's repair module and adds the features in there to manage the equipment. And we've also got the servicing, where we're managing those repairs out on site and linked into the field services, again adding in the management of the equipment and so forth as we go through, including important things like the JSAs, which don't exist in the standard version of Odoo. So that's it in a nutshell. If you've got any questions or anything else, please ping me a message. If I'm more than happy to respond to any comments and things as well. And yeah, please enjoy your day, and that's it.